Cartesius believed he had a philosophical method which might solve any problem. His steps were these: never think anything sure unless you are absolutely certain. Divide all difficulties and tasks into as many parts as possible. Always begin with the simplest things to understand, and only later proceed to the more complex. Finally, list the elements of a difficulty or task and make reviews in a general fashion. Now begin, again, by doubting everything you know. The only idea you have left is that of God. God must exist because she is in your thoughts. This notion you have is innate. You also have an idea of self. This notion of self is your soul. For these innate thoughts of God and soul, you have no need of religion. They are a given on the cosmic graphing sheet. After realizing your soul and God and the brain's innate thought factory, next thing is to understand that they are spiritual and eternal. Return now to more elaborate questions of theology. You must already have a clear idea of your own soul, your immortality, and God. Follow this necessary initiative on the primitive first notions with a decision as to some type of worship. Cartesius has given us a very large tent, the top or tarp of which has depended beneath many lines or cords, where beautiful stars swing back and forth. Beneath the shade of his primitive notions, any number of possible religions may happily coexist, in theory anyhow. At least we now have a minimum of common belief to share. Self or soul and God are that minimum. Each individual should then decide upon a personal religion and make their choice agree with the motions of their own soul. Passions of the soul, if you like. Spirit is other than matter. Spirit is not made of atoms or molecules. Spirit, then, is not physical, not natural, but supernatural, having no body as such. You are an immortal. When you die, you won't really be dead. One moment, please. Don't be brazen about this. How do you know that you're immortal? Cartesius says you are, so you must be. That's how. He was very near God. Since self or soul exists, you do exist, don't you? Then it follows that God must exist, because you have a perfect notion of God. And she is not a trickster, created everything, cosmos and stuff, only to fool you into believing in her. No, really, the best reason is that of existence itself, cosmos and nature and whatnot. Everything around us suggests that God must be there. It's that, or else everything is a tremendous waste, a universal waste. Think of that. Very nonsensical. And on top of all, the universe needs a creatrix, starting everything, dreaming it into being. Then you have Greek math. That is, if you desire the complex demonstration. Only the Greek math, well, it's really Egyptian math. But let's not get into details. You see, the brief explanation is everything is made of triangles. That includes earth and water and everything. Even outer space has triangles. Now these triangles, they form solids, and these solids are perfect polygons composed of exact combinations of angles. The best part of the whole thing is that they're spiritual forms, eternal verities that exist to provide a model or a disposition of form for all things on the material dimension. And besides that, there is only 18 of them. That's it. No more, no less, exactly 18. So if these polygons of pure thought exist, these abstractions from the spiritual realm, then that indicates Cartesius was right. God and the soul have being, and we are, every one of us, immortal creatures. We know we exist because we think. The universe is composed of substances. Substance is being. A thing existing alone and separate of other things, having a being of its own, is a part of reality, a unit, a substance. There is a division of what exists between thought or spirit and material. Spiritual substance and material substance compose everything of existence in the cosmos. Spirit is thought and thought only. Thinking is a mode of being, an attributive quality of spiritual substance. There is a union somehow between things of material and thought and spirit. Extension in space is a mode of being, an attributive quality of material substance. The real distinction between mind and soul is a difficult one to demarcate. Bodily perception is primarily of the mind, while volition and emotion belongs to the soul. Mind and soul unite somewhere within the brain. Appetites and sensations are types of thought originating in our physical body and transported, then finally registered in the mind or brain. Emotion and volition are the pure abstract thoughts produced by the motions within our soul. These thoughts are to the soul what movement is for physical bodies, since they are each a change of the spirit. Volition is the active movement that is wrought upon the spirit by itself, while emotion seems to be the passive change occurring when we are moved by understanding or love. Admiration and desire dawn upon us until the day breaks, and we experience either love or joy. Sadness and melancholy come with soft shadows of twilight and dark of night. Material substance in the cosmos has the attribute, mode, quality of extension. By extension is meant the measurements of a thing. Science is, or has become, since the days of Aristotelian magic, a quantifying of number, shape, and motion. So, now, all material and physical substance is understood mathematically, while indefinite qualities of our bodily sense perception are left to remain the realm of arts and pleasure. Philosophy is as the flower of human knowledge, with metaphysics the stem, the sciences branches of wisdom, and the arts and religions many blossoms. Socrates, how misunderstood you were. Gave the people what they desired, but they didn't know it. Said you were a heretic, meant to subvert established rites of religion. Language is magical. You must have known this. And they didn't know you prayed to the sun each and every morning. My imagination, as you say, was only partially satisfied with the idea of form, until I finally got it, even though I felt as much. You see, I never saw the main illustration. I knew only vaguely that math and geometry were supposed to be similar in some way to spirit, but simple lines and triangles and rectangles didn't do it for me. Then I got to your grimoire, what was left of it, a few pages adrift from the same. It was the light needed. Suddenly, I could imagine how Galileo must have reacted when first he directed a telescope upon the many moons of Jupiter. There were the spheres of speculation, perfect pure solids, straight from the mind of God, their primitive and simple beauty, and they were there always, half mythic structures of the ancients. Now I am illuminated. Abstract spiritual forms make our realm of creation. Philosopher of the modern, we thank you.